In today's fast-paced and productive work environment, powered industrial trucks such as forklifts and other vehicles have become an essential part in almost all industries. Along with this increased need to handle materials efficiently and safely, there has been a wide range of equipment and attachments, such as side loaders and clamps, developed for specific industries and applications. As this technology advances, it becomes critical that this equipment is operated properly and safely by trained and skilled professional operators. Like driving an automobile, driving a PIT is a very serious responsibility. You are at the controls of a heavy and potentially dangerous piece of machinery. In light of this, new governmental regulations have made training mandatory, and that training must be specific to the type of PIT you operate and to the conditions under which they are operated. No two facilities are alike, which is why site-specific training is required. What we mean by site-specific training is where you work. Proper training will go a long way in helping you, as a professional operator, become the best possible driver. But it's up to you to utilize this training on the job, every day, every shift. Because of site-specific needs, this video cannot possibly include all aspects of the required training. This program is simply an overview of the requirements, and it is designed to enhance the required classes and hands-on training. Your training must and will be site-specific to your location and the equipment that you operate. Certification of training and competency must be documented for all persons who operate powered industrial equipment. This is what the completed form looks like. All sections must be completed with the required information. The government regulations do not require the company to issue forklift licenses, but the company issues them to help reduce the unauthorized use of PITs by uncertified persons. Only certified and licensed drivers will be authorized to drive powered industrial trucks. Operating a PIT without certification and a license will result in disciplinary action. As we stated earlier, there is a wide range of equipment, each designed for specific industries and applications. There are 7 classes of powered industrial trucks. Class 1. These are electric motor, sit-down rider, counterbalance trucks, and they use either pneumatic or solid tires. Class 2. Electric motor, narrow aisle trucks that use only solid tires. Class 3. Electric motor or hand rider trucks that use solid tires. These are often referred to as electric pallet jacks. Class 4. Internal combustion engine trucks using solid tires. These are the most common types of forklifts. They can be gas, diesel, or propane powered. Class 5. Internal combustion engine trucks using pneumatic tires. Class 6. Electric and internal combustion engine tractors that use pneumatic tires. Class 7. Rough terrain forklift trucks which use pneumatic tires. These are the most commonly used in construction. Each class of powered industrial truck has its own unique characteristics and consequently its own set of hazards. Therefore, you will receive training for each class of PIT that you operate. You will not be allowed to operate a PIT if you have not been trained to operate that specific PIT. Pneumatic tires are filled with air, just like tires on your automobile, although the rubber is usually a little thicker. They are designed so the PIT can maneuver in uneven, ungraded surfaces. The tires are more flexible and can adjust to uneven surfaces. Solid tires are exactly what their name implies. They are made of solid rubber, urethane, or other similar materials. These tires must be used on smooth, even surfaces like the floor of a distribution center. One of the most important parts of any forklift or PIT training program is the engineering principles of the equipment. This knowledge is necessary to understand the following training and to improve your ability to make good judgments when lifting odd-sized or difficult loads. These principles are basic but very important, so if you have any questions, ask your trainer or supervisor. Automobiles and PITs. Driving a powered industrial truck is very different from driving an automobile. An automobile steers in the direction its front wheels are pointing, while PITs have rear wheel steering. A car's front wheels turn in the direction you wish to turn, while a forklift's wheels turn the opposite way you turn the wheel. For this reason, you need training and hands-on practice to get used to operating a forklift. It requires different techniques. All powered trucks have some type of braking system. Certain types of PITs have hydraulic brake systems similar to the ones in your car. When the brakes are pressed, fluid is compressed, activating the brakes and stopping the vehicle. Others, such as order selectors, may employ mechanical systems activated by electronic switches. Some systems activate when an operator removes his or her foot from the accelerator or standing pad, with friction stopping the forklift. Each system will feel different to you, and the stopping distances, as well as how quickly the braking system reacts, will also feel different. These important differences point out the importance of training on the specific types of equipment that you will be certified to operate. Unlike automobiles, PITs do not have shock absorbers. An automobile has what is called a four-point suspension, which uses shock absorbers on each wheel to help keep the tire firmly on the road. Forklifts have a three-point suspension system, whether the truck has 3 or 4 wheels. Since they do not have shock absorbers, a pivot pin in the center of the rear axle supports the rear end. This allows for up and down movement of the rear tires when traveling over bumps or uneven surfaces. This pivot point and the front tires make up the suspension system. As you can see in this graphic, this three-point suspension forms what is called the stability triangle. When the vehicle's load center falls within the stability triangle, the vehicle is stable and will not tip over. However, when the vehicle's load combination falls outside the stability triangle, the vehicle is unstable and may tip over. For example, fast, sharp turns can cause the center of gravity to shift outside the triangle. Forklifts operate on the lever or fulcrum principle. Simply stated, you have 2 weights balanced on a fulcrum like a playground seesaw. On the forklift, one weight is the heavy rear end or counterweight and the weight of the truck itself. The fulcrum point is the front tires and the other weight is the load you are carrying. The counterweight balances the load with the front tires as the fulcrum point. The counterweight is the large, heavy metal part of the rear of the forklift that compensates for loads and determines the safe lifting capacities. Each vehicle has a data plate located on a prominent panel on the vehicle. This is information provided by the manufacturer. The data plate gives you the make, model, and serial number of the equipment. It also states exactly how much weight can be safely lifted and how high the load may be lifted. This is sometimes referred to as the capacity. The lifting capacity is generally given in 3 different classifications, such as 24-inch, 36-inch, and 48-inch load centers depending on the size of your equipment. The plate specifies how high the load can be lifted at specific load centers and weights. As professional PIT operators, you must fully understand how each particular attachment changes the safe lifting capacity of the PIT, how it affects stability, and other potentially hazardous changes to the PIT on which you are using the attachment. The load center of a forklift is simply the distance measured from the center of the load to the vertical face of the forks. For example, if you have a pallet that is 48 inches by 48 inches and you have an evenly distributed load, you have a 24-inch load center. This graphic illustrates this concept. If you use attachments that extend this load center, the lifting capacity of the forklift can be significantly reduced. As we said before, all such attachments must be approved by the manufacturer, who may also, if requested, provide modified data plates to reflect the engineering changes that attachments require. For example, where the forklift is rated at 5,000 pounds on a 24-inch load center, a 36-inch load center will decrease your safe lifting capacity to 4,000 pounds, and a 42-inch load center will decrease your safe lifting capacity to 3,000 pounds. If you add an attachment such as fork extenders, the safe lifting capacity will be reduced even further. Another engineering principle that affects your safe lifting capacity is the center of gravity. What do we mean by center of gravity? All we are saying is that the center of gravity is the point on your PIT where all of the vehicle's weight is concentrated. If the PIT is unloaded, then you have one center of gravity. If the forklift is loaded, the center of gravity changes. If the load is raised, the center of gravity shifts away from the truck and toward the forks. This graphic demonstrates this principle. If an equipment operator exceeds the safe lifting capacity and tries to lift an excessive load, the center of gravity can be exceeded and the truck will tip over towards the load. That is why tilting a load when it's raised can be a safety hazard. Tilting a load changes the center of gravity. Loads should only be tilted slightly when positioning them on racks or other material handling equipment, such as skateboard roller lines. Let's begin with the most common type of violation: speeding. Forklifts are designed for operation at the speed of a person walking at a normal pace. Approximately 5 miles per hour should be the fastest speed traveled. Of course, this may be too fast if you're going around a turn or driving near pedestrians. It's okay to work hard and not waste time, but when you are operating a forklift, it is required for you to watch your speed. When driving with or without a load, the forks should be raised no more than 2 to 6 inches off the floor. A raised load can exceed the stability triangle and create a condition where the PIT can overturn or tip over. Never drive with a raised load, even for a short distance, and make sure the forks are completely under the load before moving it. Speeding and making sharp turns can cause the vehicle's center of gravity to shift outside the stability triangle as well. It's a good practice to glance at your mirrors every few seconds to keep informed about what's going on around you. When driving backwards, turn around and look where you are going. Never use mirrors when driving backwards. You get the safest view when you turn around and look where you are going. PITs are designed to seat the operator only. No passengers or riders are allowed at any time unless the equipment is specifically designed to accommodate a rider and your supervisor is aware of and approves your having a rider. Operators on high-rack PITs need to wear safety belts and safety lanyards. This equipment is designed for this application. If you must elevate a person using a PIT, then a proper platform must be used. The minimum safety requirements are: the platform must be properly and securely attached to the mast of the vehicle to keep it from sliding off the forks. The platform must have strong and adequate flooring for good footing, and must have 42-inch guardrails on all sides. Sometimes a 7-foot-high guard between the person and the mast is required to prevent a person's hand or other body parts from being crushed by the mast as it raises and lowers. When anyone is elevated on the platform, the forklift operator must remain at the controls whether the motor is running or not. Seatbelts are available on some types of powered industrial trucks for your use and increased safety. If you have an accident, even a minor one, while driving a PIT, it must be reported to your supervisor immediately. All accidents or near misses must be reported. If you are involved in a collision or other accident, never move the equipment from the accident scene. Check for any injuries and immediately call your supervisor. In the event of a rollover accident, the Industrial Truck Association recommends that you try to stay with the vehicle instead of trying to jump off. In a tip-over of a sit-down truck, the operator should lean away from the direction of the fall to minimize injury. On the other hand, stand-up truck operators can simply step backwards away from the PIT to minimize the potential for injury. As we mentioned before, never drive with a raised load. The load should be kept 2 to 6 inches off the floor surface. You should tilt the mast back slightly to increase stability. However, when you are ready to raise the load, the mast must be vertical before lifting the load to a rack or shelf. Never leave a loaded PIT with a raised load unattended for any reason. Under no circumstances allow anyone underneath a raised load, as a hydraulic or mechanical failure could cause the raised load to drop to the floor very rapidly. The load could also shift and fall off the pallet. Keep a good space cushion around your vehicle if possible. If your facility has dock plates and you are required to put them in place, make sure that they are in good condition and that it is properly placed between the trailer and dock. The lip of the dock plate must be fully seated onto the trailer bed, and the tongue must be properly seated between the face of the dock and the bumper of the truck. You should know the safe capacity of the plate, which includes both the weight of the vehicle and the load. When traveling up and down fixed ramps, the rule is very simple. Drive up, back down. The load should be kept uphill. If you drive down a ramp, the load could slide off the forks, causing an accident. Anytime you stop and get off your vehicle, the forks must be lowered to the floor and the parking brake set. If you are going to be more than 25 feet away from your vehicle, shut off the motor. Just as when operating an automobile, pedestrians will be given the right-of-way. Sound your horn at blind corners and intersections to alert any pedestrians of your presence. Remember, sounding your horn does not give you the right-of-way. Operators should never drive toward any person who is in front of a fixed object or wall. If a load obstructs your view, drive backwards and look over your shoulder. Remember, when in doubt, slow down. Make sure that the horn, brakes, and parking brake are functional. If your PIT has lights, check to make sure that they work. Check the steering wheel for excessive play back and forth. Before operating your PIT, you should also check, if required, the water, fuel, oil, and transmission fluid levels. Check for cracks at the heels of the forks, and check the mast chain for equal tightness and hydraulic hoses for leaks. If you discover any unsafe condition, do not drive or use the PIT. Immediately inform your supervisor of the problem. He or she will immediately take the truck out of service, and maintenance will immediately remove the PIT and take it out of service. There are a few safety issues to consider when refueling PITs. First of all, always refuel propane-powered equipment outside of the building. Always shut off the motor and put on any required personal protective equipment such as eye protection or gloves. Smoking is forbidden during refueling or battery charging operations or when checking battery fluid levels. We've covered a lot of information in this portion of your training, but it is only the beginning. As we mentioned earlier, you will receive further classes and hands-on training and evaluation specific to your location and PIT. Driving a PIT is an important responsibility. If the product doesn't get moved properly, safely, and efficiently, the whole company suffers. Take this training and your job seriously. Many people are dependent on your professional and safe attitude. Thank you for your attention, and drive safely.